Hi! I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this. I just was bored and I'm going to be wrapping books. So they'll end up looking like this. You can see I already have a pile on some of my shelf. So, yeah, I just thought I'd have some entertainment while doing this. Or I'd provide some entertainment. I don't know how entertaining it's gonna be. This is me totally unscripted, unedited, just wrapping books and maybe talking about them. So why am I wrapping books? I might do a video about it some other time, but generally I'm sick of having too many choices. I go to my shelves and I'm just like, there's too much stuff I want to read, so let's take away the choice altogether and just wrap it so I don't know what I'm reading. And the goal is just, I'm just going to read them in whatever order I get them on my shelf. I'm going to mix them all up because right now they're kind of sorted by genre, but afterwards, yeah. Oh, and you'll probably see a lot of Reggie's butt there. Yeah. So let's get to it. Here we go. I'm just gonna unwrap the wrapping paper, which is a lot more difficult when you think people are watching you to do. I know it's your favorite. Just gotta investigate everything. Yeah, I know. You'll play with it when it's on the table, I know. He likes to help. Yes, he does. Are you gonna help today, Riggs? Take off the tape. There we go. And I have a method for this. So I'm wrapping right now. I don't know if you want to know about the books. Diary of the War Pig by Adolfo something Cazares. And Colbert's Courage. Let's just go. And yes, I do have my fans on because even though it's only like 14 degrees out, it's still quite warm in my building. I don't know where Rig is. He's usually here batting at my scissors. I'm trying not to cut his tail or his paws off or anything. This is not neat at all. If you ever get a present from me, it will be sloppily wrapped. Yeah. So, I don't know if this is going to be a good idea or not. We'll see. We will see. The only problem is that this tape doesn't really stick to the paper very much, so I have to like push down and then we fold. So yeah, I have a lot of books, and this has been an expensive venture. Because these rolls, well, there's a lot on there. I don't know if you can see how much is on there. Are $3.97. And this, I'm at 20, almost 25 rolls right now. So yeah, that's fun. But I've been very eager to do this. And it's actually cheaper to buy. This is like the postal wrapping. Where is it here? Postal wrappings from Scotch. Yeah. It's actually cheaper to buy that. Sorry, it's actually cheaper to buy that than it is to buy the wrapping paper. And I didn't want to know what genre each book was by... I saw a lot of people doing that. They choose a specific type of wrapping paper to correspond with the genre of the book. But I don't even want to know the genre I'm reading. So I know I'd avoid all the nonfiction. Even though I really want to read it. So all these books I really want to read, I think there's only one book that is set aside that I haven't read, that I'm like, I don't know if I really want to read that, but I don't want to get rid of it. And I definitely really don't want to read it. And that's this one here, 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade. I'm fascinated by the person. I'd read a biography about him. I'm not too sure I want to read this though. I don't think I have the stomach for that. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I should have thought this out further. I was like, I'm going to do a live video of me wrapping and it will be interesting. Who knows? I'm also kind of tired but over caffeinated at the same time, so I may just be talking a bunch of nonsense for all I know. Let's get that tape down there. And then add it to the pile. Yeah. So this is what I've been doing for the past, I don't know how many nights. A lot. Okay. American Pastoral by Philip Roth. Heard about the Book Chemist. If you haven't watched The Book Chemist, go check him out. He's awesome. And then Dr. Zavaggio by Boris Pasternak. That's just a Russian classic. Just a Russian classic, you know. As if it doesn't take a lot to be a classic, especially a Russian classic. Okay, I don't know. I think I might only do this for like 15 minutes and then be like, no, this is too awkward. So I'm sitting on the floor, and usually I'd be watching Netflix, but ran out of things that I want to actually watch on Netflix, so to find something else to watch. Yeah, I don't know much about these books, so I don't really want to talk about them. American Pastoral is like a play on the American Dream, apparently, but it's Philip Roth, and I really want to read Philip Roth, so, we'll see. Oh, there's actually 3 people watching. Hello, 3 people. I've never done a live video, but now it's really easy. Before I thought you had to have, like, programs on your computers, but now you just click a button and you got it. Yeah. Dr. Zavaggio. I don't know what this one is about. I know that, oh gosh, I'm horrible at pronouncing names. One Book, One Review, has read this or is going to read this. She's got a Russian literature project going on, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I think really I've only read out of the Russian classics, of course, Dostoevsky and Master and the Margarita. So I gotta read a lot more Russian classics. I really like them. Oh, and I've read Anna Akhmatova. I read a book of her poetry recently. It's really sad. Okay, I can talk about Anna Akhmatova. She wrote this poem called Requiem, which was about her son being arrested during the Days of Terror, and being sentenced to death. Yeah, it's really fascinating because she was also one of the wealthy Russians that stayed after the revolution and wrote a lot of poetry about the revolution. Now I'm wrapping The Ladies of Managua by Eleni N. Gage. I was really excited to find that because I went to Nicaragua on a school trip in 2004. And so that was really exciting to find a book that takes place in Nicaragua. And then Only Revolutions by Mark Z. Danilevsky. Oh, that side's upside down. It's on both sides because the book itself is written on both sides like that, so you're supposed to revolve the book as you're reading it. Yeah, I like Mark Z. Danilevsky. I like the innovations in writing. Yeah. Oh, and this Ladies of Managua book also talks about the role of women during the Sandinista revolutions. And I actually wrote essays on that. I studied Latin American history in university. And I wrote essays on the women's movement during the Sandinista revolutions in Nicaragua. So that'll be interesting. I think I still have those essays too. I'm interested to go back and read the essays and read this. I don't think Eleni Gage is herself Nicaraguan, but I don't know. We'll see how the book is. I got it at Dollar Tree, which I know you guys have in the States as well, and it was $1.25 for that book. So like always check your dollar stores. Dollarama here in Canada also, whatchamacallit, also has books. Nice hardcovers too. I like good hardcover books. I don't know if you can hear me over the noise I'm making with all the wrapping and cutting. I don't know. I am actually okay. I was just making sure. I'm just sitting here talking to myself. Is this actually going? I think it might be actually going. My cat is hiding somewhere. Reggie! Honestly thought he'd be like right up in front of the camera, but he's not used to me being home at this time. I just switched from evening shifts to morning shifts, so I'm actually off in the afternoon instead of doing this at like midnight, working till 2 in the morning. Doing this. I call this work. Even though it's fine. It's not actual, you know, like hard labor or anything. There we go. What else do we have here? Isaac Asimov's Foundation and Empire. Then we'll do The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. And books these size I can generally fit 3, but I'm running kind of low on books. Here. We'll go The Way of Life by Lao Tzu. We'll fit those 3 in one row. So Foundation and Empire. I just read Foundation, reread it. And I love me some classic science fiction. 1950s stuff. And so that's the sequel. It's about a thing that's a company kind of thing that's been created, a whole planet that's been set up to preserve human knowledge. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know what The Long Earth is about, I just know it's written by Terry Pratchett, so I mean, I'll read anything he's written. And Lao Tzu's The Way of Life, also known as the, okay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, the Tao Te Ching, or is it Tao Te Ching? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, some religious scripture there. I'm not actually putting tape on the books, because apparently sellotape, this kind of just regular tape, actually can wreck the books. And I generally don't care, but, you know, rather avoid it if it's not necessary. There. Yeah, I am surrounded, there's books over here that are wrapped. My shelves are a mess. They probably look just fine now because my shelves are normally all over the place, but they are really messy. You can see the crooked books right there. Oh, the camera's weird, it's messed up backwards. Those couldn't fit on the shelf properly, so they're all kind of sideways. I'm wrapping everything I haven't read, unless it's like a textbook or a reference book, because, you know, I don't want to read a textbook cover to cover. I don't know. I've read most of my textbooks anyway, they're mostly just leftover stuff. Oh, and Norton anthologies, just because they're like 5,000 pages long. And they're anthologies, so I also got short story anthologies, but I am wrapping those. Most of them have been wrapped. Yeah. I don't know if I can keep talking. I'm gonna run out of things to talk about. I don't know. I should have had like a list. So why am I wrapping books? Let me just restate this. I am wrapping books because I want to take out all the pressure of the TBR, of feeling like I have to read. Oh, there's actual comments. I'm just seeing that. Sorry. This is weird. I've never done a live video before. How many books will you wrap? There will be over 1,000 altogether. Will you keep this video up? Yes, I will keep the video up. How do I get comments up? live chat. There. Oh, okay. I will keep the video up, I guess. How many hours? Countless hours. Honestly, I'd come home from 10. I'd end my shift at 10, and I'd wrap from about 10:30 after I had supper to like 2 in the morning. It's very laborious and expensive. But yeah, I'm wrapping books because I don't want the pressure of having to choose books anymore. I just want to take that out of the equation altogether and just have books be chosen for me. Yeah, and I'm avoiding books. I know there's certain books I'm avoiding. Like I've avoided reading the Tao Te Ching for so long. I've had this book for I don't even know how many years, and I'm just not reading it because it's nonfiction, and I haven't been feeling like reading nonfiction when I could be reading science fiction. So I'm just gonna eliminate the choices and eliminate me knowing anything about what book I'm picking up, aside from the size of the book. And I hope that won't deter me from picking up certain books, because I have some really big books. Where is a big book? Like, this is kind of intimidating. What is this? Sacred writings. Buddhist, Hindu, and, well, you can tell this is dated because they call it Mohammedan. Which I'm guessing is, yes, chapters from the Quran. Have thought about wrapping my TBR. Nothing. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a very good rapper, but I mean, they're not presents for anyone, and I'm just gonna tear it off, so, you know, I don't really care how they're wrapped. Here we're doing Howard's End. Only connect. Oh, where did I... Oh, that was in that woman in the window. If temptation comes to give up on the surprise factor, why aren't the messages staying? I want to see all the messages, please. If temptation comes up to give up on the surprise factor, just color on them to help you through. That's a good idea. I thought about going through and writing things on the spines, but just seriously the amount of books, like, you're gonna see on these shelves alone. I put everything on that chair. Yeah, that would take a long time, but I mean, yeah. Oh, so at Howard's End, only connect, that was referenced quite often in The Woman in the Window, which is a horrible book, by the way. I knew on page 3 when she says I couldn't prize, as in Prize, myself from the sheets, I was just like, how did this get past an editor? It should be pry. I couldn't pry myself from the sheets. And then I got The Life of an Amorous Woman and Other Writings by Hara Saikaku, which is a series of short stories. Yeah. And I have scissors here somewhere. Yeah, so here we go. I don't know. I know there's quite a few people on BookTube because I got this idea from BookTube. How many shelves do I have? Okay. You see this black thing behind me? That's one shelf, and then it's standing on top of another shelf. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have 2 in my hallway. And I'm not counting the piles of books on the floor. It's at that point now. I think this will also help me stop buying books. Not that I generally believe in book buying bans, but this way, I don't know, it's like you get a new book each time you unwrap it, right? It's like a present. So I'm running out of room on my shelves. And it sucks too because my brother just got a job at Kohl's, and I'm super jealous. Super jealous. And he gets a 30% discount, access to ARCs. You know, I'm just like, this is gonna be dangerous for me. I don't even work there. But yeah, it's a good thing I don't keep up with a lot of the new releases because then I'd just be saying, can you get this art for me? Can you get that art for me? Yeah. So there's that. But he said there's also like a policy at Kohl's with ARCs that you can't talk about them or something like that, so I don't know how that'd work. And I said I can't not talk about the books I'm reading. Like my thing I like doing best is talking about books I'm reading. Yeah. I'm surprised Raby's not here. I keep looking down the hallway for him. He loves the brown paper lying on it. Yeah, I think I'm only going to do this for an hour. Maybe. Oh, you were asking that person. Oh, I've never done a live video, so this whole chat thing that's popping up and then it disappears. But you're asking me questions. That's alright. Oh, maybe I will go through and count them all after. As I put them on the shelf, or as I don't know, I don't want to know if I want to know the number. Let's pull some books from here. Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeline Tien. She's a Canadian author. This is actually one of the Giller Prizes that I actually want to win. I have opinions about the Giller Prize. Probably keep them to myself. But, yeah. And this is about after the Cultural Revolution, a family in Vancouver. And I think this is the Sacred Writings book that I pulled out earlier. The Harvard Classics. I'm just talking about anything that pops through my head right now. This is how I am in real life, by the way. Whatever comes to my head, I talk about. So, yes, Sacred Writing. Oh, the Harvard's Classics. That's what I was talking about. I actually picked up a whole box of these. There were like 50 of them. For free at a dump. I don't think there's going to be enough room for these. Yeah, and there's some really good selections in there. I'll choose a smaller book. Let's go with Nostromo by Joseph Conrad. This is set in South America. A surprisingly modern novel for 1904, in both its symbolic technique and its political sophistication. It embodies his own pessimistic views of the world. Huh. Cool. As I said, I'm really interested in Latin American history, so that'll be interesting to see. And this was originally from Borders. Look at that. I like keeping the old. Most people don't like stickers, but I like the old stickers that kind of tell you like the old prices. Nowadays, I think this book would be about like, I don't know, this size, like $23. The prices are ridiculous in Canada, which is why I mostly buy used. I have old books that say like, oh, 5 cents. Oh man, that would be awesome. 5 cents for a book? Here, you find them at thrift stores for that price. Yeah. So, I don't know what to talk about now. Ooh, what Latin American book are you reading right now? It just popped up there. I wish this would stay. Is it like general Latin American history, or is it specific to a country? Let's see. Hi. Oh, thank you. Hi, Nicola Juliana. Sorry, the screen's really kind of tiny. I'm doing this on my tablet. I'm actually getting some audiobooks for a friend, and I had to leave my computer at the store. Ah, yes. Okay. Except they can't move into Venezuela at this point, eh? Oh, Oh, that time. Yeah, there was some communism going on at that time too. It's been a while since I've, Latin American history. I can tell you all about Nicaragua, but that was an interesting trip. Let's talk about Nicaragua, sure. So it was what they called an exposure trip. So I went to a Catholic high school with a concentration on social justice and not the current hullabaloo that's going around about the Protestant churches and social justice. And we concentrated on kind of like School of the Americas, American interference in global politics. It was, of course, the war in Iraq was going on at that time, or just starting at that time. I guess it hasn't stopped, really. So that's, yeah, we ended up going to Nicaragua, and we lived on a nature reservation for 2 weeks, and it was amazing. I got to pick coffee off of trees. I didn't know coffee grew on trees until I saw it there, and I was like, this is pretty fascinating. I don't speak any Spanish anymore, but we learned Spanish and all that kind of awesome stuff. It was really an amazing experience. My brothers went after me. They went, a few years later. They also did the same trip, but each time the school went down, they went to a different place. So it was really interesting to see, and then we toured around Managua a bit. We did some touristy stuff, It was cool. And I've loved plantains ever since. That's the thing I take back. The food I take back is plantains in all different ways. Grilled, boiled, fried, and salted. And I'm still trying to cook them in this one way that we had in a restaurant. And they were nice thick slices so that they were crispy on the outside and still squishy on the inside. I'm on a book channel talking about food right now. I didn't tell you what I'm wrapping. And I can't remember what this one is anymore because I wasn't paying attention. Let's see what this other book is. This one is The True History of the Kelly Gang by Peter Carey. There's an interesting story. A few years ago, I realized I'd read books from every continent except for Australia. So I signed up for a course, free online course, on Australian literature. And I only got through 2 of the books before I decided the course wasn't for me because it was all graded by other students, and I didn't like the students that were in my group. So I dropped the course. It was free, so it wasn't any money, but I got a lot of cool Australian books, and this is one of them. And I discovered one of my favorites of all time through that course, which is Gould's Book of Fish by Richard Flanagan. If you want to know anything about what I look for in writing style, that is the book I would most like to emulate in my own writing. I just love how he was able to add so much into a sentence. Yeah, I know it's not everyone's taste, but I definitely liked it. Here, let's get into some YA. Across the Universe. Cryogenically frozen passenger, out in space, making it to a new planet. Oh, it sounds like Passengers. The movie Passengers, where her cryo chamber gets unplugged and she wakes up. And then we have The Memory Artists by Jeffrey Moore. I don't know if you see that CHV. It used to be this awesome store called Cherry Hill Video, and they were primarily a movie rental store, but they also sold books for really cheap. So I paid $5 for that a while ago. Okay, this is why I picked it up. He's a hypermnesiac synesthete. His memory is unrelentingly exact, and he sees spoken words as vibrant explosions of color. And then he has to take care of his mother who has Alzheimer's. So it's like this man who can't forget anything has to take care of a woman who is forgetting things. Yeah. And it's by a Canadian author. I'm always up for books by Canadian authors. I'm just guessing on everything. If that is too small for this book, I'll find a smaller book to fit in. I'm almost done. This is the end, guys. I have like 50 books beside me. Maybe a little more of that pile behind me too. And then I can get to hitting all the books back on my shelves. Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll ever do a live video again though. I just feel really awkward. I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm gonna do a live video. And I was like, I should write down topics to talk about. And now I kind of regret not having a list of topics or anything. I've never even really watched a lot of live videos, so I don't know what usually goes on. This is how I do things. I just kind of like jump in and let's see how it works out. How did I get the idea? Okay, just to address Jeff Harper there, I'm wrapping books, and I decided to do a live video because I was bored. I wanted to entertain myself this way, I guess. What was the other question? How did I get this idea? I initially saw it on someone's channel that Wish Fulfillment. I believe it's her channel name. And, she was wrapping her books. And the way she did it was she'd choose different wrapping paper for each genre. And then she could, go kind of by mood. I feel like reading science fiction, or I feel like reading romance, or whatever. And I thought about that for a second, but then I did realize that I have been avoiding certain genres. I call nonfiction a genre. So I've decided I'm taking out all choices completely, and I'm just gonna read the books as I pick them off the shelf and unwrap them. And I'm going to read the books I unwrap. I'm not giving myself a choice. Because I am looking at all these books and going, I really want to read these. And so I'm hoping that when I unwrap them, they will be the books I want to read. And there are books, like this one right now, where I've started reading them and I haven't finished. I mean, the bookmark's still in there. They're being wrapped too because I just set this down because it wasn't for me at the moment, but I do eventually want to read it. So yeah. So that's Lamb by Christopher Moore. It's actually quite funny and quite good. I just set it down because I wasn't feeling it at the moment. And it's about Jesus' best friend. And his name's Biff, and he's quite funny. I think I'm gonna unwrap up to 3 at a time. And because I like to read lots of books at a time, and that's my plan. But if I only feel like reading 2, then I'll unwrap 2. But I'm giving myself, I'll unwrap up to 3 and read those at the same time. And I'm not really a mood reader. I sometimes think to myself that right now I'd like to read a thriller, but I'd be okay not doing that, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of a mood reader, but I'm trying also to get away from the mood reading. Right now I'm just folding this in half so I can cut it in half. I find it just makes the process easier once I get down to a smaller amount. So yes and no to the mood reading. But if I have books in mind that I want to read, then I can get past that. I don't know if that rambling made sense. So I'm wrapping 9 Fox Gambit, which is big on BookTube last year or the year before. Not entirely sure. Apparently there's lots of math in it, and I'm really interested in math. But I'll be reading. No, I'm not reading books I've already read and want to reread. Purely because of volume. I have so many unread books. So I want to get to those. I have only recently got back into rereading. But I'd rather read these books that I haven't read yet instead of rereading books. I might make an exception because I really do want to reread Ulysses. So we'll see. But I think that's, yeah, no, I'm not going to be wrapping books I want to reread. Nope, just books I haven't read before, or books that I've maybe started reading but didn't finish. Well, I think there is one exception for a book that I am rereading, but it's because I read that book, I had that book read to me when I was in grade 6, so I would have been 10 or 11. And I can't remember anything about the book. I just know that that book was read to me. So, yeah, and that book is, it's a Nancy Drew book. Something to do with a staircase. Book's already been wrapped. And I did discover a downside to this. My brother said he'd like to read some Gillian Flynn, and I said, oh, I have some Gillian Flynn. And then I realized that I'd already wrapped the book, and I was just like, okay, I have the book, but I really have no idea where it is at this point, because it's wrapped in an unmarked paper. So he's the only person I lend books to. One, because he's an avid reader like I am, and two, because he's just next door to me. Wouldn't it be fun if libraries did this? Oh yeah, it would be fun. I think I've seen that at our library before, but they kind of write on it, so it's like the, what do they call it? I think it's called like mystery date with a book, and they kind of give you an idea of what the book's about, but they won't tell you the title or anything. And you just pick the book up that way. I know there's a lot of like Etsy shops and some used bookstores do that as well. So that's pretty cool. It would be cool if the library did that though. I don't know, my library might actually still do that. My library here in town really only has popular fiction, and they only will buy a book if it's been published in the past 2 years, because I tried requesting books from there. Yeah, so I use them for audiobooks sometimes, but other than that, no. Unfortunately, my small town library isn't too good. Now I'm wrapping Strange the Dreamer. Yeah, it is just popular fiction. And they still have encyclopedias there, which was very nostalgic for me. So, you know, used to not have the internet for doing school projects. Yes, I know, I'm old. Used to have to go and use encyclopedias and actual books instead of just Google. I actually remember when Google first became a thing, and I was trying to use it, and I was like, Google's not a word. It can't be google.com. It has to be goggle.com. So I'd always type in goggle.com. Are you going to pick a book of 5 books along? Alternate shelves. Oh, I'm gonna try and randomize all the selections, and just read them in whatever order I pick them off the shelf in. I think that will also help with my avoiding big books, because it'd be easy just to go through and just pick off all the little books I want to read. But I also want to read some of these giant books like this one. So I think I'm just gonna randomly put the books on the shelf and just pick them off in order of how they are on the shelf. That's my plan. The piles right now, like whatever's on there right now, is only there because I don't have a lot of room. I do have books on the floor beside me here, on the couch. I just needed somewhere to stack them for now because I was running out of floor space, quite literally. So I will be taking them all off the shelves and redoing my bookshelves. I do that like every 2-3 months anyways, because I love organizing. I'm one of those crazy people. I'm doing Ian Banks' Dead Air now. He writes under the science fiction name Ian M. Banks as well. And this was one of the books that was buried in my parents' store. Which I set up because I wanted to get rid of books, but people think that it means that they can bring huge boxes of books, which works out for me because, I mean, free books. But, yeah, it's kind of annoying. I'm like, no, you can't bring any more books because this is for me to get rid of books. I still have a closet full of books that I want to get rid of. But used bookstores in town aren't accepting them. Library won't accept them. So... And I don't want to throw them in the garbage, you know. I don't want to throw them in recycling. Because they're books. I only ever threw one book in the recycling. Oh no, that's a lie. I've thrown 2 books in the recycling bin. One because it was really bad, and I might get a lot of hate for this, but it was Binti, which is super popular. And I threw it in the recycling bin because it was only 90 pages long, and it was so bad that I was like, no one else should be subjected to reading this. My primary problem with it was that the main character is supposed to be this super genius, but she doesn't understand rationing. So she took like, I think it was like 10 meals with her, and they only lasted like 2 days. And I'm just like, how did you eat 5 meals a day when you're sitting there doing nothing? Did you not think that, you know, I have 7 days before I have to get to this place, so I should probably, you know, ration what I'm eating a bit? And she thought she'd die without water after 24 hours. Everyone knows, like, I'm just like, this is crazy, this is unbelievable. You're supposed to be a genius, yet you don't know how to ration. And I didn't like the way it was written. So, I threw it in the recycling bin. And the other one was during, I was a bit of a religious fanatic at one point, and it was Philip Pullman's series, his big one, and I found out he killed God, so I was like, oh, this is blasphemous, I have to throw this in the garbage. I regret that. I didn't know a lot about real Christianity at that point. So, oh, this is awkward here, I'm at the end of the roll. I actually have a copy of it now. It's currently wrapped, because I still haven't read it. But, yeah. So those are the only 2 that I've actually ever thrown in the garbage. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get this tight. It's at the end of the roll, so that it all wants to curl up. I think my cat is hiding because he thinks I might have someone over because I'm talking. I'm rocking the live stream. Just like blabbering on. This is actually, if I wasn't actually doing like a live stream, I'd probably be talking to myself too. So it's I'm glad you guys are entertained by my monologuing here about whatever I happen to be talking about. Ooh. The Story of the Eye. What's that one about? Interested. Yeah, I'm always interested. I always like at the end of the year when people do like the worst books of the year. I'd rather watch those than the best books of the year. I don't know. I'm a fan of snark. Yeah, big fan of snarking. I want to talk about Duggars right now, because Duggars and Snark goes together with me, but yeah, I don't know if people are interested in the Duggars. Yeah. That's why I'm on Tumblr. I'm solely on Tumblr to read people snarking about the Duggars. And if you don't know, I will tell you. 19 Kids and Counting is a show on TLC following the Duggars. And they are a part of a fundamentalist Christian cult. And yes, it's a cult because they have a leader named Gothard who tells them certain rules and stuff like that. And they will be shunned if they leave or question. Yeah. So I'm really fascinated with Christian cults, how people can warp it to that point. And it just so happened that the Duggars have a TV show. And so they are quite popular and well known, even though not many people know that they're part of a cult. And we were talking about that. I don't know if you guys are interested in me talking about cults now. That's where my mind's going. But I read something interesting about one of them. One of the Duggar son-in-laws. His name's Jeremy Buolo. And people tend to like him because he is quite attractive. He used to be a soccer player. He dresses, really well. And he's funny and witty. But he has some really horrible beliefs. And people were saying how that's happening a lot on college campuses now. Is that you'll have these people who are very charismatic. They seem to dress normally. They'll have tattoos and piercings and all this other stuff. But they believe that if you don't believe exactly what they believe, that you're going to hell. Which is crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. I hope I'm not offending any Christians or people who claim to be Christian, because if you believe everyone's going to hell if they're not Christian and believe exactly what you believe, I don't think you're a Christian. So let me get off the topic of religion. Let's talk about politics. No, not really. I could talk about politics, but let's not. Let's talk about books, because this is a booktube channel. It's creepy. That was so long ago. Oh. Okay, yeah. Sounds kind of like, The Naked Lunch. Like, I couldn't read that book. I generally like books that kind of push limits, but that one was just, it was too much. It was too much. It was gross. I felt dirty while reading it. This is another, I don't know which Harvard classic I ended up wrapping back there. Or is this this is yeah. No, this is more Sacred Writings in the Harvard's classics. I'm just gonna see if it will fit this way. Yes. Oh golly, it's been like almost 15 minutes already. It's crazy. I am going to stop this in 10 minutes because an hour-long videos, I complain all the time about videos over 12 minutes long. And today I just posted a video that was 18 minutes long, so I'm a hypocrite. But yeah, an hour-long live shows is long enough, I think. I don't want to take up any more of your time with my weird blathering. You can go watch an actual movie or a good TV show. Yeah. What are you guys watching right now? Are you guys watching anything besides BookTube? No. I'm currently rewatching Supernatural. And then freaked myself out because there was an episode where there wasn't a ghost, it was a real person. Yeah. And that creeped me out. So I stopped watching Supernatural for a while. Need a break from all the scary stuff. And I've been rewatching Bob's Burgers. Doing a lot of rewatching. Oh, this is Xenogenesis, which is a series. And I read the first book in the series. I should actually remove the bookmark. Just in August? That's the month that we just went through, right? And so, I think with collected series, I'm only going to read either the first one if I haven't read it, or the second one if I have read the first one. I'm not going to pressure myself to read all the books in there. So The Handmaid's Tale. I'm putting off watching that because I really don't like Margaret Atwood. Like, really don't like the woman. But maybe I'll watch the TV show. Maybe. We'll see. And yes, there is a Canadian who does not like Margaret Atwood. See, my problem with Margaret Atwood, I'm gonna go on a rant now, sorry. My problem with Margaret Atwood is that she's held up as an expert. And if she just stuck to talking about writing, it would have been fine. But she doesn't even know writing and genres and all that very well, to be honest, because she's insulted science fiction so often. And I'm like, I think if you're going to be an expert, a self-proclaimed expert on something, that you should be aware of it. And she's obviously ignorant about a lot of things when it comes to genre writing. So I don't like her for that sole reason. And her writing's bad. I have read 3 of her books. Didn't like any of them. I am currently on season 5 of Supernatural. But I have caught up to the first season. And we'll be watching the new season whenever it airs. I love the Winchester brothers. There was another question there. Is that... I want to say that's probably about... I don't know. What is The Man Who Invented Christmas about? It sounds like it might be about, like, Santa Claus and Coca-Cola, but I might have that completely wrong. Wrapping Voices Under One Sky, contemporary native literature, fiction and non-fiction, poetry, mythology, and some drama there as well. I just picked this up at the thrift store. These are, these editions, I think, are often used in whatchamacallit, in schools. Yeah, Nelson, Canada, yeah. And I think this was a school book because it does have markings on the bottom there. So either this has been donated by the school or someone stole their book from school, which I'll admit I've done. Light. Yes, Supernatural is one of the few horror things I can watch, even though there are certain episodes I have to skip because they're too scary for me. I'm not good with horror at all. I get scared easily and then my mind just goes crazy. You're lying there in bed at night going like, yeah, there's a creepy ghost at the end of my bed. I know it's there. Can't see it, but I know. Yeah, so, and mirrors. Ooh, there's an episode with mirrors. I think it's the first season. Can't watch that episode. Just terrifies me. I couldn't look in mirrors for a while after. Because in the show there'd be like, it'd show something behind you in the mirror. Ooh. I don't even know why I started watching Supernatural in the first place, knowing that I'm not good with horror, but the later seasons are much better, I find, because they concentrate more on biblical issues, I want to say, rather than just like, you know, little girls and walls trying to kill you. Sorry if you haven't seen season 4. Bit of a spoiler. I don't know if I'm going to have enough wrapping paper to finish this. Hopefully I do. Because, to be honest, the store was running low. I'm like, why don't you replenish this? We're obviously using it. Reggie! He likes playing with the paper, so I let him. Now I'm going to wrap Vineland by Thomas Pynchon. I think this might be the last books I wrap right now. And let's go with Serafina by Rachel Hartman, Canadian author. And yes, that book was on my TBR for August. Didn't get around to it. So I get quite ambitious with those TBRs, and I do 10 at a time. And then I work and I say, if I read 100 pages a day, I could read 10 books in a month. It never works out that way. Yes. I have only read The Crying of Lot 49. That's amazing, by the way. And I've read about half of, the name's escaping me. Ooh. I've heard of Robert Bolano, and I want to read him. I don't own any books by him yet. Gravity's Rainbow, that's the name of the Pynchon novel. I've read like half of that, and then set it down and didn't pick it back up again. I think it is currently wrapped. It doesn't appear to be in this pile here. Oh, okay. I didn't... About watching a Christmas movie in September. Miss like Christmas. Nice. Sorry. I don't like... They pop up for like 5 seconds and then they disappear. By night. Oh, yeah, I don't think my library has it either. What was it? My brother went in there looking for a comedy book. It was a comedy biography, and that's why I went back to the library, and I thought, oh, you know, I'll just see what they have. And, I did pick up, the Alice in Wonderland retelling by Gregory Maguire, because I love all his other books that I've read. I think there's only 2 books in the Wicked series that I haven't read yet, but I'm really looking forward to them. So I love Gregory Maguire and what he can do with fairy tales. So that's the only book I got. Oh, and I got the Wheel of Time. I got a big grin on my face because Wheel of Time's being made into a TV series, and I'm just so excited. Oh my gosh. If you don't know, if you haven't heard me yet gush about the Wheel of Time, it's a 14-book fantasy series written by Robert Jordan, and then he passed away, and then Brandon Sanderson took over. And I listened to them all on audiobook, and the depth of character, I have not seen that in any book. I mean, of course it's 14 books, so I mean, you really get into the characters, and not a lot happens really in the middle books, so it is very character driven at that point. But the characters just felt like family, honestly. Just how well developed they were. So even if you're not into fantasy, if you're into character development at all, you should look at Wheel of Time. But it is being made into a TV series by Amazon. And Rafe Judkins is doing the writing, and he's a huge fan of the books. He posted a picture recently of the first book, and it was all in pieces. Because he says he's read it so many times, so he had to buy a new copy to reference while he's writing. And every Wednesday he does what's called Wheel of Time Wednesday, where he shows a bit of the script, or he talks about how he's writing the script. And recently, the past Wednesday, not past Wednesday, but maybe the Wednesday before that, he talked about how he wants the cast to look, and he says the diversity is hugely important in Wheel of Time. And it is in the books as well, so it's really cool that he's trying to do all this stuff right now. Yeah, so I'm actually, like, I need to drink and get some air, and been talking for almost an hour now, so, thank you very much for watching. Have you seen Waking Life? No. It sounds familiar, though. Yeah. I need to have some water, and an hour's long. It's long enough. Goodbye, thank you very much for watching, and listening to my rambling.